It's only been 6 weeks, but people are starting to panic about Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, and everyone has got it wrong. We cannot judge managers when they come in mid-season like this, and the reason I know that is Harry Maguire. We're going to talk about why this is and make it all make sense next, here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. You cannot judge managers when they come in mid-season. It just doesn't work, and Ruben Amorim should be getting a free pass for this entire year at Manchester United. Nothing he does, nothing that happens should matter whatsoever towards his future. Yes, I am being extreme. There are a few caveats, but I really do feel this way, and I'm going to talk about why that is. But before I get into all that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Get in this comment section. Let me know what you think. Wait till you hear what I'm going to say, but get in the comment section. What do you think about Amorim, his future at United? Should we be panicking? Get in that comments. Let me know what you think. You can also leave some comments on Twitter at Pitchside Pub and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. So let me get a few caveats out of the way here. First of all, I'm saying, and the point of this video is that you cannot judge a manager when they come in mid-season. That is obviously when the managerial appointment is a long-term appointment, right? Ruben Amorim is supposed to be the future of Manchester United. He's supposed to be their manager for a long time. That is not the case when you do a mid-season old veteran coach, just save us from relegation, right? A Sean Dyche, a Roy Hodgson, right? If you're going to bring in one of those guys and it's like, hey, let me just get me one of these relegation survival coaches, okay? Yes, obviously you need to have results immediately, but you're only looking for incremental results. You're not looking for a new long-term system. You're not looking for some revolutionary breakthrough. You're looking for a veteran manager who can steady the ship and avoid relegation so the club doesn't take multiple millions of dollars of financial hit, right? So yes, in those cases, you have to judge immediately because that's literally what you're being brought in for, is just the next few months, save our ship and get this thing right. But that is clearly not what happened with Ruben Amorim. He was not brought in to save Manchester United from relegation, and it's a good thing because they're closer to it than ever. The other caveat I want to get out here is that they are not going to get relegated, short of a points deduction, which I guess has recently sort of been rumored only if they go out and spend a ton of money during the transfer window, which they're probably not going to do. They're not going to be relegated. Yet they're sitting at 14th, and they're closer than you'd like, and they're closer than they're used to being, but they're not going to get relegated. First of all, there's only 2 spots left. Southampton's getting relegated, and so it's just not going to happen. So this sort of panic and all these media outlets of, well, what would happen? They'd lose their Adidas. It's not going to happen, all right? So everybody chill out and relax. And that's part of the problem, is you start to feel that, and you see the relegation zone sort of down there, only a couple spots away, and the panic sets in. And the panic is what gets managers fired. The unrealistic expectations and the panic by the fans, which is incited by the media. And when that's at Manchester United, it is more powerful than ever because the microscope is more on them than it is anywhere else. The heat lamps, right? The light is there on Manchester United more so than at any other club, possibly in the world, certainly in England. So I get it, but that's why everybody needs to pump the brakes, because nothing that happens at Manchester United should be a reflection on Ruben Amorim and his coaching ability for this year. He gets an absolute free pass in my book for this year, and I've got a couple of reasons why. The first one is Harry Maguire. Look at what has happened with Harry Maguire, right? Harry Maguire is written off. He was a big signing. He did not live up to expectations. He has constantly played better for England than he has for Manchester United, and they have been trying to get rid of him for years. He's got a big salary, and they were only going to get pennies on the dollar, so they've sort of kept him around as a 4th and 5th center back option. He lost his captaincy. He really only plays after all the injuries, and yet under Ruben Amorim, he has been their best central defender. And it was just announced that Manchester United is going to pick up his 1-year option because of how well he has played under Amorim. And it's not just that, Amorim came in and revitalized Harry Maguire, so he's great. No, it's about systems. And that's why we can't judge Ruben Amorim. Harry Maguire has always operated better in a 3-back formation, a 3-back system, either as the center back or the left center back. He's done better in playing for England in that system, and now look at what has happened. Ruben Amorim Amorim has come in and he runs a 3-back set, a 3-4-2-1 typically, and Harry Maguire has thrived. Part of it is because there are now 3 backs back there, and he is not the fleetest of foot. He's a good, solid defender, but if you want to run a high press and expect him to track back fast, he's going to look bad. That's always been the case. So this is about systems and players who fit a system, and that is why Ruben Amorim gets a pass. He does not have the players for his system, and I know that's something that gets tossed out there and people are tired of hearing it, but it is a real thing. It is a real thing. He is trying to run a completely different system and play a completely different style of football than Erik ten Hag were, and frankly than has ever been played really at Manchester United, certainly in the last few decades, and he doesn't have the players for it. It's not that he doesn't have talent, and that's what gets everybody panicking, is, oh, with this salary and all the money they spent, blah, 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 he should still be able to compete. Well, not necessarily. If the players, great players in the wrong system are not great players, right? It is very few players who you could plop into any system with any coach in the world and they would thrive. And Manchester United does not have the players that Ruben Amorim needs for his system. So that's why he gets a pass for this season. And this season doesn't matter, barring a complete meltdown. And I get it. It's been 11 games, 4 wins, 6 losses, and a draw. It's not a good start for Ruben Amorim. But he's not trying to win right now. And that begs the philosophical question. And again, I don't know what was discussed between Amorim and ownership. Sir Jim Radcliffe and Dan Ashworth was there. He's gone. And, Omar Barada and the guys. I don't know what the expectations were for this season. What they should have been, and what it looks like they were, is Ruben, come in, clean house, get rid of guys you don't think are going to be a part of the future, make your statements, do what you have to do, right? The floor is yours, and run your system, and let's see who fits in it, right? And we've seen a few things. He didn't like how Marcus Rashford looked in training. He did not like how Garnacho looked in training. He dropped them. Garnacho has come back, but Rashford has not. He's now looking for a transfer. So he is saying these are not guys who are going to be a part of our future. He has shifted Amad Diallo around. We are seeing guys like Maguire who are going to fit. If he wants to plan for the future, right? Ruben Amorim has to run his system right now and let the chips fall where they may and see who fits it and see who doesn't. Can Kobe Mainoo play it, and where would he fit best? Does Casemiro have a future here? Probably not. Is Marcus Rashford going to be a part of this? It doesn't look like it. And so that's what he's doing. Now, if the goal was, okay, we need to win now, let's try and get a European spot, then you could make that's where the argument of, well, Amorim should be adjusting his style to the players so that they can try to win some games. That would make sense. But is that what's best for the club long term? I don't think it is. If they were on the cusp of Europe, right, and he was brought in to try and have short-term gains to get them a European spot this year, then yes, Amorim should be adjusting his style to the talent that he has and making the best of a situation. They could probably win a few more games if they did that. But to what end? To what end? To sneak into 7th and get in the Conference League? The Premier League is deeper than ever. If you watched my last video, I talked about what an incredible season this is, minus Liverpool ruining everybody's good time by starting to run away with it. But 2 through 10 is incredibly deep. So is this really the year where Manchester United could make a few adjustments and sneak into 6th or 7th? It doesn't look like it, right? So to what end? Could he adjust his system and his style to fit the players they have and sneak a draw out of a loss, right? Or sneak a win out of a draw and get a few more points here and there? Yeah, possibly. But does that benefit Manchester City or Manchester United long term? Is that the best long-term play? Or is the best long-term play instilling his discipline, which he's doing, instilling his tactics and giving the players that are going to be here a 20-game head start on the tactics? Because this is why it's so hard to have a manager come in mid-year. They come in, they don't get enough training sessions, especially when they want to implement brand new tactics, brand new styles of play. He had a couple of training sessions, and then he had to start playing games. The fixture schedule right now is so incredibly crowded that he's not going to get the time in training to really instill his principles, instill his tactics. They're trying to learn this on the fly. That's really hard to do, particularly when you're getting 2 and 3 games a week, because Manchester United is playing in Europe right now. And they're trying to compete on all these different fronts. So even the training sessions you get are lighter training sessions, right? So he's not getting the time with them. So for the players that are going to be around, the Dalios, the Mainos, the Bruno Fernandezes, the Harry Maguires. These guys are probably going to be a part of the future. For them to have a 20-game head start learning his tactics, making mistakes, and yeah, it's going to be ugly, but they're going to make mistakes, they're going to learn from them. That is huge. That is incredibly invaluable experience. So that's why he's got to play his style. That's why he's got to come in and do things his way, and just losses be damned. It sucks, but that's how you get better. It's to take a step back and have some struggles here for the building of the future. So you have to let him do his thing if you want to have the long-term goals. And the problem with Manchester United is that they have been so short-term focused for so many years, and that's why they never get off the treadmill, right? So that's what's happening now. The last part is you have clearly allowed Ruben Amorim to come in and be the disciplinarian. And that's a good thing. Manchester United needed that. Look, I think Marcus Rashford gets a bad rap. I think he is targeted by the British media. I think it's unfair sometimes how he is treated. But God, he does not do himself any favors, right? But that said, you cannot argue that Marcus Rashford is not one of their 11 most talented players and one of their best attacking options, right? Regardless of how he plays and how he trains and the effort he puts in, the traveling and the nightclubs, whatever. He's talented. He's good. And Manchester United would be better with Marcus Rashford at his best. It appears that those days are gone, and that's fine. But if Ruben Amorim's goal was just to get as many points this season as possible, Marcus Rashford would be out there. Clearly that is not the goal, and that is a good thing. It shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be changing the culture. They pushed Sir Alex Ferguson out. It wasn't great how they did it, but it was time for it to happen. They have to create a new culture. They chose Ruben Amorim, and he is a guy who can do that. I do believe in Ruben Amorim, but you've got to give him time. You got to get the players in his system, and you got to let him do what he's going to do. So any panic about Ruben Amorim is short-sighted. Look, do I know that he's going to be wildly successful at Manchester United? No, not at all. Right now, it is difficult for anybody to be successful there. But I do believe in him as a coach. I do believe in him as a tactician. I do believe in him as a man manager and a disciplinarian. And I think everything he is trying to instill in the players and in the culture, in the locker room, in the dressing room, in the front, everything at Manchester United are good things, but they are going to have to be patient. And yes, it is a struggle right now. No, you are not going to get relegated, right? And if that starts to really become a legitimate fear, then yeah, maybe he has to make some adjustments just to get some points in the table. But I don't think that's really a fear right now. So take all the losses in stride. These players are learning from it, and now is not the time to judge. You cannot judge managers when they come in mid-season and are playing a completely different style and expect immediate results. That is FIFA crap. That is football manager crap. That is not the real world. That is not how it works. These players need time to train. They need time to learn the system, and he needs players who fit his system and have the skills that he needs. What do you think? Get down in that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Am I being too passive? Am I giving him too much of a free pass? Is the media being too critical? Get in that comment section. Let me know what you think about Amorim, his time so far at United, and his future. Get in that comment section. You can also leave comments on Twitter at PitchsidePub. While you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel and check out the website, pitchsidepub.com. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.